Well, thank you so much, Sam, for coming. This was so much fun. I'm really excited about our next book in August. Where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at SamanthaJo8, or also I'm through Jurassic Outpost.
Awesome. And yeah, Stephen Ray Morris and all the things. I mean, let us know what you thought of Sphere. Is it one of your favorites? Is it still my favorite? Remains to be seen. But yeah, Stephen Ray Morris and all the things. See Jurassic Right on Patreon.
Hello, how are you? I am fine. What is your name? My name is Jerry. I will kill you all.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Filled with awe and fright, see Jurassic Right, bathed in amber light. See Jurassic Right, see Jurassic Right, right. See Jurassic Right, right. See Jurassic Right, right. See Jurassic Right, see Jurassic Right, see Jurassic Park.
I'm sliding forward. Hey, it's almost like we've been here before. My name is Stephen Ray Morris, and you're listening to See Jurassic Right. And the voice you are hearing, that's like me in Jurassic Park. The voice you're hearing is Richard Kiley. You know, who's my co-host today, of course?
Samantha, hello.
Yay, Samantha Endres from Jurassic Outpost, from the internet.
From the internet.
From always having great cosplay
Yay.
and good opinions.
Right.
And being a fellow fire sign.
Yes.
So it's dangerous that we're together. And if you're watching, which you should be watching, Sam has new hair. Take a drink.
Yep, we're fading it out so we can do some color change ups here.
And you have squid earrings, which is perfect for this month's episode, which is Sphere in our Michael Crichton See Jurassic Right Summer Book Club series. Woo. And anything else different with me if you're watching this?
I mean, you have a Subnautica shirt on, so that kind of fits the vibe,
That's
right?
True. I'm really on brand today.
You are. And you have a giant squid on your head also. I mean...
Look, we really didn't think ahead for Congo. I guess we could have worn like gorilla costumes, but I don't really want to do that.
No.
I guess we could have done adventure outfits, but I like podcasting, real time. We're learning, and Pirate Latitudes was perfect.
You have to dress up.
You already had the outfit.
Yeah. It's just another day for me,
Take a drink anytime Sam has something already related to the episode.
Just keep chugging. I feel like this one was the hardest, honestly, because I had to make these little guys.
I mean, I really do love this squid hat, and I bought it just for this episode because, I want people to watch the video.
Yeah.
Obviously, podcasting, audio medium primarily, but I feel like, why not have some fun with it? Get some of my antics. My classic antics, Sam?
Classic Steven.
And what else? Yeah, we're talking about Sphere, Michael Crichton Sphere, 1987, year I was born, which is very exciting.
Yeah. It's your soul book, sister book, whatever. Star sign book? I don't know.
I mean, it's interesting because I've commonly mistaken Sphere for being your favorite, which I think it was maybe just me. Kind of fits into the theme of this book in terms of, we'll get into the hyperfixation facts about it, but all the psychology and all the, deep thoughts and why people are dumb.
Basically, the too long didn't read. People are dumb.
Michael Crichton was like, this could have been an email, basically, in a way.
Essentially, yeah.
And I think one of the things when I was, when we're going back and forth reading the book, my big sort of takeaway, which will, piece apart and all that good stuff, is humans the world is knowable, people are not.
Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, I did, overall, I did enjoy that kind of, he was just, people, that's kind of a mood.
Yeah, and we've talked about in previous episodes. Again, go back and listen to Congo, go back and listen to Pirate Latitudes. My big theory about Michael Crichton is his Scorpio nature, his Scorpio sun nature. and that he was disillusioned by the science community. So his whole career is basically an elaborate revenge plot to be like, science is cool and it's amazing. And even though sometimes people are people, we should still strive to be good scientists, even though I hate everyone who let me down in my life, which, you know what, again, relatable. So, a couple of things, because we mentioned hyperfixation facts.
Yeah.
Ocean stuff. What else? Ocean stuff. Aliens, question mark, timeline, time travel. Not timeline. That's a different Michael Crichton book. Yeah. Maybe we'll do that next year. And time travel, aliens, space stuff. And then those are like the big sciencey things. And then we get into, I have tentacles. I can do it. There we go. Anxiety, mental health.
Anxiety squids.
Anxiety squid. I'm anxious. The human mind. I'm just going to keep doing that. If you notice some pauses, because I've been dancing with the squid tentacles. And also, I also was thinking too, just sort of re-listening to, I listened to the audiobook a little bit. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that in a second. But the whole like Monkey's Paw, Wizard of Oz, Portal, There's No Place Like Home. Like, I feel like there's a little bit of that, which is like other Michael Crichton novels, right? Like the characters go to Jurassic Park and then leave, and it feels like a dream sort of thing.
Yeah. Like, did it really happen? Can we talk about it? Kind of a recurrent theme through his things.
And for you,
yeah,
what's your what's your ocean shit relationship? I think that's the big one to start with as far as the hyperfixations, before we get into Michael Crichton in his own words, which we've done every episode, and then we'll get into our sort of summary and thoughts of the books and kind of dig into the characters and all that, and everything. But what's your ocean shit background?
Yeah, my ocean shit. I think like every kid, like every millennial, was like wanted to be a marine biologist for some reason. Most Lisa Frank, all of the ocean themed Lisa Frank stuff. I think like Keiko, like Free Willy, and all of that. Yeah. Like those movies are really, I obsessed over them, and kind of adjacent to pirates, because it's, again, like water. We made a just shift to a little bit deeper in water. But yeah, no, it's just, I think it was just one of those fascinations of like, what is this? Like, what's down there? And then, as you get older, you're like, it's none of my business. That is none of my business. But yeah, no, it's really cool to learn about animals. And I recently started playing Subnautica, your recommendation.
Excellent.
Yeah. So it's, a little bit of that, where it's just like, this is a really cool kind of another planet almost kind of feeling. So I feel like that's the kind of cool part of it.
Did you swim a lot growing up? Were you a beach, like go on the beach, hang out by the beach, kind of dip in, dip out? Like, I feel like everyone has kind of a different flavor. I'm a lake person. I'm a river. I guess. I don't know. Yeah. What was your beach routine,
Yeah, no. For those who don't know, I'm in the Pacific Northwest. So our water's a little colder here at the beach. Regardless, I do like the water. I'm not much of like a swim in the ocean person, again, because none of my business what's in there. And the constant reminder, like riptides, everything is dangerous. But no, I really enjoy like going to the beach and, looking at all the seashells that wash up, that kind of thing. Tide pools, love a tide pool. Like, spend hours. But yeah, that's more I like dip in, feel the water, and then kind of observe, not in it.
We don't care enough about tide. We don't talk enough about tide pools anymore,
I would talk about them forever. I love them so much.
Also, I feel like, when I think of the West Coast, as you get further north, it's more lighthouse than like, I don't know, Point Break. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we know our surfers are fully in their wetsuits, all of that gear. But you know, like I told somebody who was visiting, I'm like, well, you can go in the water, but you know, just you got to wait for your legs to get numb to the cold first, and then you'll be fine.
Beautiful and treacherous as the sea, all shall love me in despair. I think that's the Lord of the Rings line I know the most, I think.
It's a good one.
I say it often. I feel like Galadriel, like she's talking about the Pacific Ocean. I mean, not literally, but like,
Yeah.
Like the Pacific Ocean is ungodly huge.
Yeah. No, again, none of my business what's in there. Like, it's cool, but even just like flying from Portland to Hawaii, like, oh, this is literally just all ocean. We're just flying for 6 hours and we're not even across it. Like, that's wild.
And yeah, also you have an exploding whale up by you, or did back in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We had, I think my mom still has like that recorded on a VHS. But yeah, I think it's on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
I've seen it make the rounds. But yeah, like what else when they didn't know what to do with a dead whale on a beach and couldn't move it because it's too big. So they blew it up. So go on YouTube if you haven't watched that.
There's a lot of cool stuff to learn about the ocean. I, like you also, I think you really, as far as gateways to science, I really feel like you said, marine bio is a big one. Dinosaurs, obviously, a big one for us as well. And space shit, I talked to comedian Lisa Corral, and I actually gave her for her birthday the like octopus fingy tentacles that you can put on your fingers, because they were glow in the dark too, related to this episode. And I think growing up on the West Coast as well, but growing up in the more like, dude, part of the West Coast, I was a boogie boarding fiend. Yeah. And just spent, especially like when I was a lot younger, you'd go out to the beach and you'd camp out like at 10 a.m. when it was like freezing cold because your parents wanted to get you a spot. They wanted to get a spot by the bonfire pit or whatever.
Right.
And then as I got older and my dad moved to the beach, then I was obviously very lucky to get to spend so many summers out there, just like not even being a great swimmer, which is maybe a bad idea in retrospect, but I would boogie board a lot and I'd be like, I'm free, like, I don't know. It was, I liked being in the water. And if you've been following this podcast, I've been even more ocean and especially shark-pilled lately. Last year, got to visit the Great Barrier Reef, got to snorkel in Hawaii, and in general also have been doing a few more ocean-related things. I'll a little plug up at the top, but I interviewed Brooke Fitzwater, Ocean Philly. You know them on TikTok and Instagram, and they just teach you all kinds of amazing facts about all the weird little guys in the ocean. And yeah, we talked about Subnautica. And then I interviewed Carly Jackson from Minorities in Shark Sciences. We're doing a special Shark Week episode that should be out by the time this comes out. And then I also interviewed Dr. Amani Weber-Schultz from Minorities in Shark Sciences and Jada Elcock, also from MISS. They are a wonderful organization that everyone needs to go support them. But yeah, I'm like getting my ocean fix with See Jurassic Right because, again, it's that gateway to science. And also, again, like you said, Subnautica has been a huge hyperfixation as far as video games. I just like swimming around in the sea. Yeah. Have you been snorkeling?
I haven't actually. No, I was supposed to go when I was in Hawaii, and I ended up getting food poisoning the first day I was there. So,
oh no!
Go.
Oh no!
Yeah.
I mean, that's very thoughtful of you, I guess, to not go in the sea.
I didn't move from my bedroom. So. Oh.
Hooky lounge. Wait, you gotta go like this. Okay. Anyway. This is, for anyone who's fidgeting or has ADHD, this is dangerous.
Little squid hat.
But yes, let's talk about briefly alien stuff. Obviously, it's sort of part of this novel. We're obviously talking about spoilers. But yeah, where do you stand on aliens? I really wanted to get in there. I kept getting my elbow in there.
Lean into it.
Samantha Endres, aliens. Are you Mulder or Scully? You're Scully.
Little Scully, yeah. I don't feel like I fully am yes, aliens. But also I feel like it would be just kind of silly to say, yeah, there's nothing out there. Like,
Sure.
space is so vast. Again, like the ocean, like what's out there? We don't know. How could we know? We're not the only beings that evolved to, be smart.
Yeah.
Surely not.
I hope not. Wait,
Have some more hope.
if we're as smart as life ever got, I mean, we know that's not true because dinosaurs lived for so long. Sharks are still here. Like,
right, exactly. So that just on a different planet, and kind of related in Project Hail Mary. It's like chemicals, everything, processes. Get more into the science that I'm not great at, but there's got to be something else out there, some life forms.
Hopefully, cute as Rocky.
We can hope, right?
And yeah, I'm glad you brought up Project Hail Mary. We'll talk about that a little bit at the end when we talk about the film adaptation of Sphere, the TV show that sadly is probably not going to happen, at least as far as the team that is, was announced for that. RIP, bring back Westworld. But, oh yeah, and then the last thing before we get into Crichton in his own words on Sphere, I feel like you and I can't tell who's more anxious, you or I. Who's the more anxious fire sign? I kind of think Leos are, actually. Right?
Yeah, because I mean, like, isn't their whole thing kind of like, oh, it's all about me? So I feel like that would make me more anxious.
Yeah,
but also that does kind of make sense because I'm a Leo moon. So like, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like to me, Sag Suns, like you and Taylor Swift, and our friend Roxy, have a lot of confidence or present very confidently, I should say. But you are I think you're a very confident person. If you're not watching the podcast,
I'm making a shrugging. No, I think I get like not to get too into human psychologicalness too early, but no, I think it's like you grow into it, and kind of like Michael Crichton, like his kind of moods change throughout his books, and it's like I feel like it's the same with everybody. So got more confident.
I am a god as an just kidding. As an Aries. I am either the worst person to ever have lived or a fucking god.
Depends on the day.
See, I think remind me at the very end. We'll talk about what would happen if we got into the sphere, if we made it in.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that at the end. But I think this book is really interesting because as far as like our personal experience, and we'll get into also a little bit of our first time we read Sphere, but growing up in Orange County, more conservative, where mental health wasn't a thing. It was just sort of like, if you believe in it, you can achieve it. Anxiety Squid says, if you believe it, you can achieve it, no matter what. And so, yeah, I feel like this book is really interesting because it takes place at a time where, at least as far as like the science of what Michael Crichton is talking about, it's almost like he's talking about that psychology itself was at a crossroads in the 80s. So I liked that about the book too, rereading it, being like, oh, okay, like here's where, he's talking about like our main character's experience growing up, becoming a psychologist. And then, it really plays into like, again, some of the aspects of the end of the novel and ego and things like that. But, yeah, anxiety is a hell of a drug. But is there anything else we should get into, or should we get into Crichton in his own? Well, okay, wait. Do you remember the first time you read Sphere?
I think it was probably shortly after I read Jurassic Park. But again, like, and we'll get into this, but didn't really hook me as much as Jurassic Park. I think it was kind of that thing because it's like, ooh, dinosaurs, ooh, marine life, like underwater. I'm going to move on to this. And it just wasn't like the same hit for me.
Sure, yeah.
So I don't even think I finished it when I was, 12 or something. So yeah, fully reading it that I could, say I fully read it was just a few weeks ago before getting ready for this podcast.
Well, yeah, for me, as I maybe have mentioned or did mention, and it's funny because in preparing for this episode, I say this is my favorite book still. My favorite Michael Crichton book, I should say, specifically. I think The Hobbit is my favorite book, but or The Bell Jar, but I haven't read it in a long time anyway. But I think, especially now, because it's just such catnip for me and my... I mean, I'm wearing a Subnautica shirt. I'm wearing a squid hat. Like, I'm the ultimate fanboy for this book, and which just shows how bad the movie is. 1998 Sphere, directed by Barry Levinson, which again it'll come up, during our discussions. But having rewatched, like, the movie, I will just say, almost makes me like the book less in some ways.
Oh no.
You know what I mean? Because, we'll get into it again, and not to keep saying we'll get into it, but
we'll get into it.
But we'll get into it. Take a drink. I wish I could tape like a little shot glass to the squid tentacle. Yeah, I love Sphere, I think, not as a kid growing up, too, because it was my most read Michael Crichton book other than Jurassic Park and Lost World. I think because the ocean stuff. I think because it just felt like such a weird book that was different than the rest of Michael Crichton in some ways, which I think, and maybe just because I do have a soft spot because it is the year I was born. So I've And in preparing for this episode, I was like, I want to know what was going on in Michael Crichton's life when this happened. And so, yeah, I just love, because I think we were talking maybe about it on the last episode, but big ups to the Michael Crichton estate, big ups to Sherry Crichton, big ups to their social media team, because it is cool to see an author that has passed away almost 20 years ago now get to... we get to still experience the author's work in a way, like resharing different things about his work, like the work himself or the work that he did himself, but then also from the books, when the whole not direwolf thing was happening, to explicitly make that clear, they were sharing stuff about Jurassic Park and how that, his work, for the most part, has only gotten more relevant and relatable in some ways. And so... I love that his website has him say a paragraph about, hey, what do you think of this? And I had to experience this in real time with one of your favorite authors, Sam, because I got to moderate a book release of Lee Bardugo and Liz Climo. They did a children's book called Better Pets about pet adoptions. It's really sweet and wonderful. And so I did the last stop on the book tour, and it was my first time meeting Lee. I was a little nervous. Then I realized she was an Aries, and I'm like, we homies. Yep. And she's just such a kind, cool, charming human being. So funny. Made the entire crowd laugh. It was so much fun. But I asked her to sign Shadow and Bone because I hadn't read it. I'd started reading it, and I like to do my homework, at least, especially just obviously, I know so many people you care about her work, and I'm so excited to read all of her books now. But it was really funny. I handed her that book, and she was like, "Really, my first book?" I was like, "Oh no,
this one."
But then I bring this up again with Michael Crichton, where I was always really tickled that Kurt Vonnegut because it's on Wikipedia, and I love that was early Wikipedia had a section of Kurt Vonnegut being interviewed in this magazine where he had to rate his own books. And so I think it's really funny that he was C-, B+. Actually, that one was an A. I was really proud of that one.
Yeah.
And I think that is some good little context, because what I'm about to read you is kind of hilarious. Again, I always feel like it's so insightful about either... I mean, again, I'd be curious to know when these were written, obviously before he died, but just to sort of, I don't know how often you get a chance to see an author reflect on their work in a meaningful way. So, Sphere, in his own words, I started the story in 1967 as a companion piece to the Andromeda Strain, but then I didn't know where to go with it. The idea of doing a story about contact with superior intelligence, a time-honored theme, is that it's very hard if you stop to think about it. Most writers evade the issue by making the alien recognizably human. It's 9 feet tall with spiky teeth, and it wants to eat you. Or it's 3 feet tall and it wants to hug you. In either case, it's human-like. I feel like you said something about this where it was it is Rocky or the Xenomorph or like
Yeah, Xenomorph or Rocky. Like you got both sides of the alien, exactly what you just said. Yeah.
who I do think Rocky is cuter than E.T., which I think is another good example.
Yeah. Yeah. E.T.'s a good example, but yeah, I think Rocky's so cute.
Anytime I watch E.T., I'm like, it's so beautiful, John Williams theme. Oh, E.T.'s so fucking ugly. I'm sorry, E.T.
Yeah.
I would still rescue you.
Right. He's just a poor little thing, but yeah, not the cutest.
He was a botanist. Never forget. He was just studying.
He was a scientist. Yeah.
Oh, what if it was like a summer internship that he got like left at? Oh no, we don't have time for this. To continue, what's more likely about first contact with an extraterrestrial is that the alien wouldn't look human-like at all. You might not even be able to see it or detect it, and its behavior would be absolutely inexplicable. Trouble is, it gets hard to dream up a story where at the center there's something that's inexplicable. I think that really... I had this thought just now. Basically, Sphere is a book about how it's hard to write a book about aliens.
Yeah. Like, wait, I wanted aliens, but maybe not?
Yeah, because it's like he is too scientific, and so he can't even, like, it's almost like the hyperfixation would unravel, which in the book it kind of does, because it's like, it gets more, like, surreal. It almost, the movie in a way almost feels like a David Lynch movie or something, because it's like, the logic kind of falls apart when it's people have brain powers and psychic powers and stuff, you know?
Right. And the whole unreliable narrator thing comes in. And you're like, what's really happening?
I know, right? Shifting. You're like, I want a pizza.
Oh, the dream, man. You can just wish food in for you. Like, never have to grocery shop again.
I know. I would wish for food and also wish not to be full. Is that my one wish, Willow? Oh, no. $1 billion, but don't crush me.
Okay.
But I also wanted to bring up a couple of facts before we get into the book. Because, yes, this book was written in 1987, and he was married that year to Taylor Ann Martin, who he had his first child with. And the thing I also learned is that it's almost like when authors start, it's like they're like super prolific. Like during medical school, he was writing all the John Lang detective novels because he'd rather be doing that. Somebody's like dying on the operating table. Nurse, we need you. And he's like, I got to write this sexy lady. And yeah, so that was like the 60s when he's in medical school doing his rounds, quits. Andromeda Strain comes out, huge hit. Goodbye, medical school. Goodbye, being a doctor. 70s, very prolific. And then we get Congo in 1980, Sphere 1987, and then Jurassic Park in 1990. So we don't get, so this, like, his 80s were his, like, least productive year, quote unquote. I mean, he was also working on a video game and directing some movies and stuff. So, and I wonder too, because obviously we covered Eruption, which was our very first, book club prequel when we covered the posthumously published Eruption. It seems like he was just doing, and even Private Latitudes, like he was doing tons of research for these books. So I wonder if it's just like different computers were like being upgraded, and he's like, all right, here's the Eruption folder, here's the, Pirate Latitudes folder, here's the micro folder, and so I think maybe that's another big reason. So I feel like, I don't know, that also gives me some more context about what's going on. Like, it does kind of almost feel like it's a midlife crisis novel. The one thing I did forget to look up, which I do want to look up now, how old do you think Michael Crichton was in 1987?
Oh, gosh.
Everyone pause and guess. So he was 44. He was 44 when Sphere was published. So, midlife crisis.
Midlife crisis. There we go. You nailed it.
I was like, there's something about this novel that feels a little bit like, because his protagonist is very different than the rest of the characters. And just a lot of, it's almost like how Jurassic World Dominion feels very different, or like Predator Badlands, because it doesn't, because like Jurassic World Dominion has tons of returning characters. Predator Badlands isn't, the Yautja's a main character. Like, there's these little things, and I feel like Sphere, doesn't fit the formula that he would maybe later perfect with Jurassic Park and some other books, or how we talked about in our Congo episode, feels like a, what did you say? It's like a run up to Jurassic, or like a test run or something.
Oh, yeah. Like just testing out his, like, how he wants to build it narratively or something.
But yeah, what did you think of Sphere? What do you think of Sphere?
Well, it's fine. It's no, like, I enjoy parts of it, but I feel like it just doesn't quite hit the same as like Congo or Jurassic Park did, because it feels like he lost the plot a little bit to me. And like, he kind of admits, like, I don't know what I was doing with this book.
Yeah, no, that's very true. Yeah.
Because I think I either wanted like it to be more alien, or more ocean. Like, give me one of the two, like something more sciencey in that realm. And we get some of it, so it's like that little taste. But I think that's where I kind of just, I fell off when I was, reading it when I was young. But I think that's why it just doesn't hit as hard for me, because it's not. It is more about the people and like, oh, we have a magic wish ball, and but we don't get what we love Michael Crichton for, and like the sciencey and like, let's explain it, and we just kind of are like, oh well, it's there. Probably aliens.
We should forget it.
Yeah. I don't want to remember this trip. Let's just not.
Speaking of.
Sphere.
As Michael Crichton says, ball is life. No, I just wanted an excuse to get... I always see these big tennis balls at the tennis matches I go to. And so I just got it so I can make some content with this later when we're promoting this episode.
Hey, why not?
Just imagine this being CGI'd into a brilliant silver ball, or gold ball if it's the movie.
Color shifting.
Anyway, that was Chekhov's ball. And no, I see what you mean by that, because it would be almost as if, like, what if Jurassic Park in the last 60 pages all of a sudden was just like, the dinosaur started like talking, you know what I mean? Like something really inexplicable, like, where you're just sort of like, oh, this is being framed very differently. It's a different kind of story. It feels almost like, have you ever seen Sunshine? Speaking of sci-fi space stuff, it almost, I think some people, some people have criticized Sunshine for basically turning into a monster movie in like the last 30 minutes, which like, I totally understand. Like, I think it obvious, like the highs of that movie maybe don't, like, the end doesn't compare to the highs of the movie, but in a way Sphere is kind of like in that vein,
yeah, we get the little taste of like the monsters and aliens, and then they go away.
It's just a man, it's just a human man.
A white man, no.
Get him out of here. Shoot him out of the airlock. But yeah, so Sphere, essentially, we'll go through it a little bit. It is framed as, again, because the spoiler that it's just man is it's framed in such a cool way. It's like, a team that, it's very just 90s of like an expert team. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it should have been perfect for a movie. Right.
Like, everything was there.
Sphere should have been that part of the same queer sexual awakening as like The Mummy. Do you know what I mean? Like, think about Sharon Stone. Think about, like, you know what I mean? Samuel L. Jackson, Queen Latifah, like Liev Schreiber. Like, there's, you know what anyway, we'll as we said, we'll get into it. But it's something is happening, under the ocean floor. A crack team is assembled. The characters of Norman Johnson, Harold Harry Adams, Elizabeth Halpern, Theodore Fielding, Arthur Levine, and then the military people, Harold C. Barnes, Alice Teeny Fletcher, Tina Chan, Rose Levy, and Jane Edmonds. They're all, James Cameron style at the bottom of the ocean, and they find a spacecraft. They're like, oh shit, it's an alien spacecraft. But wait, What a twist. It's 300 years old. I mean,
Trash.
I do. I mean, again, like the Michael Crichton goodness part of like that sort of like big question being like, but it's under 300 years of coral, you know, like,
Yeah. But then when they find the made in USA, oh, this is literally a trash bin. What?
turns out it's my own. So, and that's kind of like, you know, I think that's set up within the first 65 pages, which actually surprised me rereading this because in a weird way, I thought they like drew it out longer.
I did too.
But I think in some ways, to your point, the ending of the book, because it gets reduced to so few characters, I almost think the beginning of the book is just more memorable. You know, it's that Michael Crichton thing of like, okay, we're learning about, you know, the air systems, and we're learning about ancient sea creatures or sea creatures in general, and coral, and like even problematic psychology experiments.
Like
you know?
they did in the 80s.
I know. I'll say briefly, Ed Asner did an abridged audiobook, but I started to listen to that a little bit, and it kind of freaked me out because very quickly it was like condensing things in a way that was like, oh, I don't like this.
I don't like a bridge thing. No.
And then my new tradition has been sometimes I will check out it's like fan made audiobooks. Because like I'll just look on YouTube and what is his name? Shit. Let me just look it up really quickly. Like I listened to 2 different versions of Island of the Blue Dolphin that were essentially by like school teachers. Speaking of spheres, just those random balloons that nobody's been able to explain to me. Aliens. So yeah, like that the One Brave Star, and he even started putting music over it, you know, and it's like 16 parts on YouTube and everything, but yeah, like you can hear, like they don't edit, so like they'll just like redo the lines and stuff. But it's like there was one for Island of the Blue Dolphin, speaking of ocean stuff again, that it was a teacher reading it to her classroom of kids.
Oh, that's sweet.
Wait, I forgot. How did you read this book again? I think we maybe mentioned in each episode what format or how we were reading it, but did you listen to the audiobook version of this too? Or, oh, you did?
Yeah, no, I did audio again. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. It was really fun listening to it today, just being like getting into the vibe, especially the end I thought was like really well done. But, back to the story. I guess, for you, as far as like the things that worked, the things that did, I think you briefly mentioned, the characters, and I think it would be fun to get into that a little bit. I think I jokingly said, it was like, is this Michael Crichton's most feminist novel?
There's multiple women in it.
There's lots of women. Ew. Sorry. I'm so sorry about that. I should cut that. Maybe I won't cut it. I don't know. But
it was the squid that made you do it.
It was the squid. Oh, it's the brain slug from like Futurama. Or it's a yerk from Animorphs.
Animorphs.
But yeah, we'll do some sort of debrief at the end of this series of every hilarious introduction of a female character in Michael Crichton's works.
They're wild. I just wait for it every single time. I'm like, all right, how is this chick going to be described? Oh, she's hot. She's tall. She's hot. She's muscular, but she's also feminine. But she also has a really tough quality about her. She's everything.
I want to love her, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I think to your point, because Norman Johnson is the psychologist, and he just is a very different, he feels like a very helpless Michael Crichton protagonist, because we've talked before about it feels like so many Michael Crichton protagonists are basically audience surrogates.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. What do you think of Norman?
Yeah, no, I would agree, because he's like, they're usually, thinking of like Alan Grant, like he knows about dinosaurs and he's dropped into the middle of dinosaurs, where Norman is like, he's a psychologist and he's dropped into the middle of the ocean. Like, that's not who I would expect to be like the main character of an underwater book. Yeah. Which I mean, was also interesting because it was, getting back to what our point was of like the anxiety and the mental health of it all. So it was kind of interesting that he like didn't know much about the ocean. Like we don't see that through him. It's all the like other characters that get to nerd out about it.
Well, and I just thought of this too, and I wonder if maybe the point of it was he wanted to sell the fear of being in the ocean, of being in those tight spaces, being in that cold water.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Are you super claustrophobic? Are you? I mean, again, we know how you feel about the ocean. We know
None of my business.
Take a drink. But yeah, would you be super claustrophobic? I don't know. These places seem cozy, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I'm not super claustrophobic. I think where this situation would get me is all the people. Like, that's a lot of people in a tiny space. That's what I would be like, oh, there's too many personalities. That is too many I don't know you people. Like, I don't trust y'all. I'm not getting however many feet deep underwater they went.
1,000 feet deep.
Yeah, no. Like, send me down there. Like, you and me, let's go hang out.
Book club.
In the sphere area. But, just add a couple randoms. No, absolutely not.
Well, I do want to for my birthday. Maybe I will do this for my 40th. Listeners, help me decide. Because I'm going to be 40 next year and I've never been on a dinosaur dig. How is that possible? How have I never done dig up any bones?
I actually haven't either. But
I feel like talking to, like Dr. Dean Lomax or like other folks where it's like, oh, their parents, and they're very, and even Steve Rusati, where it's just like, oh, my parents were like, sure, you can go out into the wilderness and dig up bones.
Have fun.
I don't think my parents wanted to drive me out to the desert, which is fair. And I'm bad at spotting. Friend of both of ours, recent guest, we did our Justice for Gennaro episode, Corey Anderson. I went out and visited him in Fayetteville, and we were sort of, going out by the creek a little bit and stuff, and we were hiking, and I was just like, I can't spot. Like, people find stuff in the creek all the time, and I'm being like, is this a fossil? And it's like, no, that's a bottle opener. Oh, that's a gun, like that's a bullet casing. It's like, oh, it's so hard. Anyway, and then the other thing I was thinking I could do, there's an underwater hotel in the Florida Keys. Mm-hmm. And it's like it's actually very like 70s, 80s looking, like very vaporwave, like backrooms, early 90s looking, like ugly, like peaches and tans and like Windows 95 kind of thing. And then there's like, it's a porthole and you have to like swim down to it.
Oh my God. That's wild.
Yeah. I kind of want to do that.
So either desert or water.
Yeah. Start a GoFundMe. Fund my 40th birthday trip, please. Yeah. So, there's maybe that was what the prevailing aspect was like, well, oh, and to your point too, I wonder if you picked a psychologist or you picked Norman because he was like, I don't know what to do about the alien stuff. So if I pick a character who doesn't know as much, then like I can also get away with more of the Hitchcockian, 80s psychological thriller kind of plot by the end.
Yeah, that's true. Have somebody that's just, exactly what you're saying. Like make it a little bit scarier psychologically versus the like, oh, what is this? I know everything about aliens and spheres. Why wouldn't I know that? Like, I don't think that would have been as an effective book too. Like if that was the main character.
Yeah. And I wonder just too, if it's like harder to imagine. Cause like, you're like, oh, I can have a dinosaur come and like, rip a guy open. Whereas there's a little bit more science about, it's almost like, the science of all the light. It's like, classic Crichton, trusting infrastructure, capitalism and like those kind of things of like the system falling apart.
Yeah.
And for him, maybe it was just like, I can sell that stuff more if somebody's just like, I don't know how those buttons work, like. I mean, it is kind of nuts. Can you imagine? Because like, as the novel goes along, you discover that we discover, like you said, that, okay, well, this spacecraft is actually an American craft that has come from the future, 300 years in the future. It went through a black hole. And I also feel like everyone should chime in with what is your favorite explaining a science thing to normies. And I feel like my favorite one is still explaining the black hole,
Mm.
you know, and having like the orange and having the little like,
Oh, yeah.
and I just feel like that's such a good, it's funny. I actually thought it was in the movie and it's not in the movie.
I feel like we've seen it somewhere, though, right? Maybe it's another movie.
Well, in Event Horizon, another, and Event Horizon is in space, but it's got all the messy melodrama, and he has naked, eyeless Sam Neill. I was not ready for Alan Grant to terrify us in that way. They do the thing where they take like a Playboy and they like punch, like they flip it up to punch a hole, so it's like going through like space time or whatever. But yeah, I always love when he takes some sort of everyday object in the environment, because it's just like in Michael Crichton's world, people are doing that. And I just love that. Like, that's a world I want to live in. Like, somebody's just like, you want to know how magnets work? All right. Like, you want to know how, like, quantum mechanics works? Schrodinger's cat? Whatever. Like, it's
I got props. Cool. Let's go.
We've got props. This is the sphere.
It is a sphere. Stare into it.
Oh, what was I going to say? Okay. So they find out that if it's not alien, then what is it doing here? And I don't know, like, I feel like this is my favorite part of the novel, is all this stuff. Like, okay, now that we found out that it's not alien, like, what is it doing there? I don't know. Did that stuff speak to you? Like, just the kind of mystery of like what's going on? And
for sure. Yeah, no, I love that kind of, and I feel like that's where the kind of horror scariest part was for me. It was like when they're exploring the ship and trying to figure out like, where are the people, like who piloted this, and doing all that little discovery. Like, I really enjoyed that, like that section of it, the whole like mystery of it all.
Yeah. And it just becomes this kind of like farce almost, because people cannot shut the fuck up. But I mean, I like love Ted. Ted is like one of my favorite Crichton characters, because it's just the pompousness, making fun of that, but also making him a good person at the end of the day for the most part, except maybe trying to take credit for other people's work. Okay, maybe he's not the best person, but like I just love when a positive kind of happy character isn't necessarily like a good character.
Yeah.
So, and he's the astrophysicist, and just one of those people that is just like, he's like the opposite of Malcolm, he's just like always just trying to, I don't know, he's just such a salesman,
Yeah.
But through his insecurities, where he's just like, oh, Harry published his thesis when he was 19, a year before mine, Yeah,
it's that very weird, like, competing in science, or, the scientific fields. It's like, comes out. It's like, yeah, you have a passion for it, but also you're competing against everyone.
Yeah. Well, and I think Liev Schreiber, in a way, who plays him in the movie, kind of plays him in a very like autistic, charming kind of way. I actually kind of really love his performance, but it's very different than what I was thinking. Like, in my head, Ted in the book is almost like, it's like if Jimmy Buffett got like mean when he was drunk or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, kind of your typical boomer guy, like, who is just like trying to be cheerful and positive, but then like just is kind of like has a darkness in there. And, you know what I mean? Like, he's wearing a Hawaiian shirt, but he like, it's like,
he's not having a good time.
Yeah. And then of course we get Harry, played by Samuel L. Jackson.
Good old Samuel.
It's so funny because it is 5 years after Jurassic Park. So it's like, I understand the, like, getting to have Samuel L. Jackson in your movie and have like a real role, you know, because obviously, you know, his role is so much smaller. Ray Arnold in the book is such a, you know, even more interesting character. And it would have been amazing if there had been more of that in the Jurassic Park movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is, and to go into obviously Elizabeth Halpern, where it's like, you know, when we talk about Michael Crichton's strengths, I feel like it's a little, again, when he's, maybe I described it in the last episode, but it's like Michael Crichton has a very cynical view of the world. And so he sees how people act and then he ascribes almost meaning to it as if it's like evidence. So it's like, you know, and rereading Sphere, it is just like, all right, she's hysterical. Like she's been burned because, you know, she slept with her professor and he stole her work. Like that's the part where you're like, where maybe Michael Crichton would be like, well, it happened, you know, like, well, that's based off a true story. So, you know, and you're like, but you don't have to, you could do more with it, I think. I don't know. What did you think?
No, I agree. The kind of similar to what we were talking about with the character descriptions. Like you're always waiting for like the other thing that's like in this person's backstory, and you're like, why was that there, Michael? Like, did that really? This added nothing to know. You know, oh, she slept with her professor. Great. How is this helping us against dinosaurs? Don't know. But yeah, I feel like that's the, like you're saying, strengths and weaknesses of writers. It's like people descriptions, not so much the best in Crichton's works necessarily.
Well, and you know, if Crichton's going to go that route with her character, which I think is really, you know, I think that's something that happens a lot and should be talked about. But I don't necessarily think Crichton is ready to address like why that matters. So it is
go
like,
that next step.
Yeah, so it's like what does this mean for the character, and like what does it mean? I don't know, for like society. You know what I mean? It's just like it's kind of there to be like it's almost used against the character rather than getting to explore a character in 3D almost in a way.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's a good point, and it's like it kind of leaves it up to the reader to like go that extra step and be like, oh, well, I mean, exactly like we're talking about book club. Like, you know, we don't talk. I mean, I don't think that much about it when I'm reading it, but going back and talking it over, it's like, oh, yeah, this, you know, we can discuss like, hey, that happens. That shouldn't be happening. Why is this happening? How would this have affected, you know, her life and, you know, her views as a character and stuff. But yeah, I just don't think he just kind of glosses past the next steps of that discussion.
Yeah. And so, which I think, again, is feels like relevant to the world of science, you know?
Yeah.
So it is just one of those tantalizing things that you're sort of like, oh, it'd be really great. I mean, who knows? He's probably not equipped to do it, but, you know, and so that's where we're at. And then again, the other example is this is, you know, in the beginning of the book, they are, you know, it's this, well, research has shown that women do better in high pressure situations. And that's why the entire crew is women. But, you know, that sucks basically, which is, you know, maybe it's like, that's more from like Harold Barnes's perspective. But I think in my perspective, when Crichton's writing that, he's like, well, that's just how, you know, these systems are in place. So I'm going to put it here instead of, I guess, comment, like you said, just leaving it there versus maybe you could comment on it one further because in the end, Beth is huddled in a corner crying, wanting to kill herself. So it's like, you know,
great.
Well, and, you know, and again, she's very different than the other character, you know, than all the naval people. But it's just one of those things where it's like, well, she's the only woman that survives. So it's like you can't really have a cake and eat it too in that regard.
Yeah, gets to falling into stereotypes a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's, again, how we talked about the Congo episode, where it wanted to sort of reinvent or sort of pay homage to these old adventure novels, but didn't really like do enough to comment on it necessarily. I wonder if Jurassic Park like comments on anything in that way. Now I'm going to think about that. I won't say any more. But yeah, what did you think of the Navy crew? I love them.
I kind of liked them, that they were like, they're the ones that know their shit.
Yeah.
They're the knowledgeable ones down there. Like, they're the ones that if I was down there, I would trust. Because, like, like they have been underwater is their thing. Like they're skilled in keeping people alive underwater. Because somebody had to invent that and knows how to run the what was it, mostly helium atmosphere that they had to live in.
We're down here and there's pressures of oxygen or pressures just the idea that I mean, again, that's one of those like things that I remember from a kid of like, oh, in order to breathe down there, there's pressurization and you have to breathe different. You have to breathe, different combination of gases and things so that you can breathe down there and stuff.
Yeah, no, and on that note, I liked the again them being knowledgeable of like, oh, we can't deep fry things because that'll mess up our filtering system, and we're like, oh, I wouldn't have thought about that. Okay, like,
or you can't have whipped cream.
Yeah, all those little weird little things. He's like, yeah, that makes sense. That checks out in my brain. No discussion needed further.
Well, I just had a thought that it's almost like the crew are, especially in this book, they're the like crew on Love Island. You know what I mean? And our main characters are like the reality stars because they're like they're the drama, and they're just all sort of hanging back. And I kind of like them because of that, because like there is this almost. I think it's really cool the way Crichton uses them to sort of be a moment for all these messy bitches, Ted and Norman and Beth to all like get to talk to Tina, get to talk to Teeny, get to talk to Edmonds. And it's like each one of our main characters picks a favorite,
Yeah.
Like Ted loves Jane because she's the archivist. And Rose is kind of beloved because she's the cook. And then Tina becomes this reoccurring motif with Beth and getting into the sphere. Like, I love that that's a big, like that, like the idea that this conversation is this reoccurring motif in this book, which I thought was like kind of unique. I feel like as far as Crichton books go of like rewatching the tape and like, this is something to think about. I mean, Jurassic Park has that a little bit with the dinosaur population graph, and then Lost World also with like the graph stuff and the fractal in Jurassic Park. But and then Teeny becomes obviously like, she's the fun one. She knows what she's doing. She's fixing things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I would watch a show just them, Like, what were they doing before everyone came down there and fucked it up?
Right? Like, why did you ruin our underwater habitat? No, I really enjoyed them. And I think that, again, like what we've kind of alluded to of like, I feel like we have so many cool characters and then they're gone so quickly and then we get down to like the three main survivors and it's like, oh, I blinked and the rest of the crew is gone, Yeah. So I think for me too, like if we were to ever get a TV show, I think that would be something that would be really cool to expand on and have like more about the characters and their like outside life, how they're there, I feel like they could do a lot of cool stuff with a TV show.
Yeah, I could see almost like an Andor situation where you have like an episode about Teeny, like later at the end, where it's like just about this kind of smaller character and you learn all this, relevant stuff so that when they go, it feels, in the movie Teeny, because they only have two, Queen Latifah plays Teeny Fletcher, and then I can't remember the actor's name, but plays Jane? Yeah, Jane Edmonds, I think. Yeah. They're like basically Teeny and Jane are the only two crew besides Barnes. But in the book, like you said, we've established, what's going on, black hole, like that's interesting. Mm-hmm. Secrets come out, obviously, that, the US knew about this or knew to some extent more. It's always that thing of like, the kind of like catty thing in this book of like, I knew more than you. And like people kind of being like, well, I don't want to tell you what I know, kind of thing. And that, of course, in very Crichton-y fashion, like the US wants to use that as a weapon potentially. And specifically that weapon is when they find the sphere. ball is life. I keep repeating, but and that it's this what it almost is like, almost like a liquid metal, and that it could be this emissary from space, is sort of like a time, not even a time capsule, but almost like a Rubik's cube sent out into the universe, and being like, except when you open the Rubik's cube, it makes you able to control things with your mind and manifest your worst fears and desires.
Oh no!
Oh God! I didn't mean to solve this.
Put it back.
Put it back. And yeah, like all of that stuff is so, again, I really do love the Tina and Beth like refrain, and when Harry gets into the sphere, and the almost really, I think, in especially the movie, recalling Alien, of like when John Hurt gets face hugged and he's just like, I'm fine. And then like Harry, when he goes into the sphere, he's just like, what, Rose, what'd you do? Like, what are you doing? Like, this food is amazing. He's super manic and hungry and everything, and like everything's fine. Like all of that unnerving quality, you're right, is kind of the scariest part, because it is almost scary of like you said, what would happen? Because I just love the idea of going on a Lord of the Rings style adventure with your coworkers. Imagine if Jurassic Park was real and you had that was like a work retreat for your job. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so I think that's also why I like Sphere a lot, is because I love this idea of like that kind of uncertainty of like, it's not your best friend, it's not your family, it's
right.
As a kid, I wanted to like be a Power Ranger. You know what I mean? Like, what if I got summoned to Zordons, and he's like, you will be, Rangers. But like all up in, like, I think you're right. Like really all this kind of is a hitting at a head, and then people start dying and sea creatures start appearing. Hello. Giant squid. We have sea snakes. We've got jellyfish, obviously, which in the movie are used to kill Teeny. But basically it goes, and again, I was like already forgetting like who dies first, but also some of the deaths are off screen. You really don't get to see, Jade Edmonds dies, Rose dies, Tina dies, Teeny Fletcher dies, Barnes gets pulled out. I think Rose, is Rose the one who's banging on the, I looked it up and I already forgot. It's either Jane or Rose, or no, because Jane is the first one to die, because I think that's the banging.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
and then I think Rose never is found again, or Rose is the one. See,
this is what I'm talking about.
It happens so fast.
Yeah, like one after the other. Like, wait, oh no.
Like Barnes gets grabbed out. Obviously, you didn't even say the marine biologist doesn't go on the adventure, which just shows how much of a lark it is. I mean, this whole book is a lark, right? Because Norman wrote the whole UFO, like, this is the crack crew we need when aliens appear, and he wrote it as a joke to pay for his mortgage.
Yeah. Like, I just need the paycheck.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if somebody gave you like $50,000 to write a report of what you think would happen... Let him cook. This is
never going to happen. It's fine.
Fuck around, find out in the worst way. You know what I mean? Or, well, fuck around, find out, and then forget. What was your favorite sort of death or action sequence in the book?
I think I really like the jellyfish part, mainly because I think that was like the horror lover in me. It was the most well described, I feel like, with it kind of slowly happening, like, oh, the wonder of these cool jellyfish, like, let's capture some, this is a completely new species, whatever, and then, oh, they're kind of sticking to my vibe, like, I can't see through, oh, what, oh no, my arm is burning, my suit, and it quickly devolves into that, so, that's what I kind of like, it feels very like beginning of a monster movie where you're like, oh, the wonder of it all. And then, oh no. But yeah, no, there were some of the deaths that we read, that one and the crushed body were the two that it feels weird to say I like the most, but I found the most interesting.
Yeah, just because the description of it is just so horrifying. The idea of it's like your outside is fine, but then your insides have all been like scrunched
Yeah.
so that you're just sort of like goo.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like a pulpy goo on the inside. Like, ugh. I mean, obviously another thing that's happened big in underwater news, in the last 5 years was the Titan submersible. So, also on my mind rereading this book as well.
Uh-huh.
And you could imagine, because I think on My Favorite Murder, we've covered a few underwater disaster related stuff. And so any of that stuff is brutal, really tragic. So it's just sort of like, I do think like we were saying at the beginning, like the fear of that. And I wonder if people who are more claustrophobic, not necessarily like we're claustrophobic around people, but I wonder if people are like, I would never go into something like that. Like, I wonder if this novel hits even more.
Probably. I don't know. Probably. I think because there's like, you're in a tiny space, but then you literally can't leave.
Yeah.
I think that's what would get me too. Because this gets a little bit towards the end of the book, but like the whole, you have to decompress when you come out because of the helium air and like being so far down and all of that. It's like, oh, you can't. Yeah, you can escape, but you still have like 3 days to sit in a smaller area.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, I think I also really like, which is, we'll get into this now, which is part of this whole attack and everything is Jerry, Harry, Harrison, Halpern. Who is it? and this is the other thing too. We talked about the graphs in Jurassic Park, but this is like something that I think is effective in the movie as well to some extent, but the decoding process of everything was just
that is one of the fun parts. Yeah, when they're like sitting there trying to figure out what the what is this? It starts out with numbers, right?
Yeah, it's numbers, and it's like they think it's again, if you want to learn, like Congo, if you want to learn about like early computer tech, you know, about memory dump and cache, like the cat wiping, all that kind of thing. And like, oh, we think these are just random numbers. No, the numbers are coming from the sphere. Oh, wait, it's a code.
Gotta solve the puzzle.
And the sort of Gimli and Legolas sort of relationship that Ted and Harry have. Yeah. It's just so delightful. That stuff is fun because you're like, okay, this is bickering, but in this science way. So it's like, it feels like more interesting.
Yeah, the whole decoding of it. I loved the mental image of when they finally figure out it's like, oh, it's like around a sphere, like it's the alphabet around, like, oh, I get it, but also that adds to the level of creepiness. Okay.
Yeah, there is something very unsettling about that. That maybe is also relatable to now where like, obviously we're connected to anyone. So the idea that like something could come through when there's no connection. Ooh, ghost in the machine. And that stuff I think also holds up for me as well too, I think, because it is just creepy because it's like children are creepy.
Children are creepy.
Because the whole point is it's like, and again, the notion, like that's where I think Michael Crichton is getting to talk about alien stuff in an interesting way of like, how would we communicate? And it's like, oh, it's kind of funny and sinister, or like, it's like hitting on that unknowable, inexplicable thing of like, oh, well, maybe it would talk to us like a dog or a child,
Right.
So
and
like
the whole gets into our earlier point of like, people are stupid. Well, now we have aliens are stupid.
Yeah, there's some comedian who always jokes like, all these aliens keep crashing. It's like, what if they're just like drunk college student aliens, like,
my bad. Didn't see your
planet.
dude.
Yeah, so it's like, that's the stuff, the deaths start happening. And the thing that I also really like about Michael Crichton that this book does a lot of, but then also it sort of goes in and out towards the end, which is he's constantly shifting with like different time, like, okay, well, they have to be down there because the ocean is too, there's a storm up top. Like, again, part of Crichton, nature, be doing nature stuff,
Yep. Unpredictable.
Unpredictable. Life finds a way, there it is. But so there's like that time that they have to be down there, but then it's like, oh, they have to reset the emergency sub because that's like a backup system with the tapes so that there's like, if anything happens, the Navy will see what the evidence was.
Mm-hmm.
And then we eventually get the full Alien sort of thing of like, well, we're going to nuke the site from orbit just to be sure sort of thing, like setting up the bombs. Like, I do love these little timing things that you kind of have to worry about. And then even the squid attacks as well, too, the manifestations, which, we find out that, as Harry went into the sphere, Beth went in the sphere, and eventually Norman goes into the sphere. All of this stuff is basically, all these attacks are basically manifestations based on, different things where like Harry was afraid of, or he was afraid of the book 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Beth craves power and to be sexy.
Who doesn't?
And Norman is basically like, again, rereading it where it's just like the end of the book of Norman being like, well, I guess like in a way, Michael Crichton romanticizes like pure objectivity. And so it's like in a perfect, like, so that's like when Norman almost becomes like a perfect character. He's like, I will take this power. I will solve it. And
Yes.
I will leave everyone behind. Tragic, true, but I have to do it. And then, of course, thankfully, humanity prevails.
Yes.
And he rescues Beth and Harry. But it is just like, yeah. And that part of the novel does go on longer than I remember. It really felt like, I don't know. It really felt like the attacks almost like in a Jurassic Park kind of way where like, at least in the movie, the Rexy attack is like an hour in, it's this slow burn. And I feel like if anything, how you're saying like Congo is a practice for Jurassic Park, Sphere maybe like burned off too quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, imagine if Jurassic Park was just like, I guess the Gallimimus Valley and everyone in the bunker, and then going to the kitchen, like if all that stuff was like more than half the movie or something, or a little more than half. And so it kind of feels off balance where it's like, do we really want to see Hammond, Muldoon and Ellie in the bunker? I mean, maybe, but you know what I mean? Then they would get to discuss sexism in survival situations.
Exactly. I mean, I'd listen.
Do you think Ellie, like after the smiling and everything, like the Pelicans, then she was like to Hammond, all right, so let's get into it.
All right, settle in. We got a long flight ahead of us.
You didn't even know how to guide me to this is your park, man. You couldn't even guide me down to the ASMR switches. Yeah, as far as that stuff, was all the manifestations, like, I don't know, we talked a little bit about in Pirate Latitudes, how they bring up the Kraken, speaking of sea creatures, but it kind of feels like, that feels like a real tease. Obviously, this book goes deeper into just being sort of this battle of the sexes, kind of like survival psychology thing. Yeah, I don't know. What'd you think?
Yeah, no, I think because I like Jurassic Park so much in Congo, it was kind of a tease where I was like, oh, we don't get more, underwater creatures, monsters, whatever you want to call them, because it was really fun to be like, okay, what is this giant squid going to do? And then I particularly liked, when they're like cooking up the squid, but then Harry doesn't like squid, so a bunch of shrimp suddenly appear. I thought that was a cool little nugget of here's a little hint at what's actually going on, kind of earlier on in the book. But yeah, I think that's kind of why it was sort of not a letdown, but just I wanted more of that, and let's keep manifesting stuff. Cool. So
well, and to the point where, eventually, because it is this kind of, it's like a monster movie where everyone's the monster.
Yeah.
And when Norman finally goes to the sphere, he's just like, ugh, this is so annoying. Just tell me what the answer is, And it's actually really funny in a way. I want to give Crichton more credit where it's like there's finally this speech of like, it is you and you are the thing. And like all the like kind of telling him what he wants, telling Norman what he wants to hear. And he's like, and you will be saying this at your lecture this fall, you know, like,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, okay. And then, basically that's fear. Norman rescues Harry and Beth, and they go to the top, and they're like, "This is the anti-cosmos. This is like Carl Sagan if he had a bad day, and he's just like, oh, geez, I spilled coffee on my suit, and I got a parking ticket, and it's just like, humanity's stupid. We're not ready for this. We're not ready for this power, you know."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they spend 3 days just locked up in that little decompression chamber, and they decide to forget.
The end.
The end.
And it's interesting because, and just we'll dovetail into the movie a little bit, but it's interesting that they use the idea of the time travel paradox to actually like use that as a way to add more fear to the movie, because it's like, well, if we saw this spaceship, they didn't know where, like the crew didn't know that they were going into a black hole. So that must mean they never knew about that. We found out about it. So therefore, like it's the Back to Future rules. And so we must have died down there.
Yeah.
But instead they forgot. And so I kind of like that about the movie, but I will say, God, the movie's so bad.
Great.
Like Congo is so fun. I think it elevates and doesn't take itself too seriously and manages to do a lot of really fun, weird things. I mean, you can't go wrong with Tim Curry. Also, Laura Linney being like, I'm going to put them back on the endangered species list. You know, like Delroy Lindo, Ernie Hudson.
Also good.
Amy Good Gorilla, Bruce Campbell cameo. But this, did you see this movie when it opened? Or did you see it in theaters?
No.
I'm pretty sure I saw it in theaters, but I this was one of those, like, during lockdown, I was like Congo, I was like, it's going to be like a fun movie to just keep on. And I feel like basically leading up until Queen Latifah, who played Teenie Fletcher, like up until her death is like fine. And then after that, it really just loses. It's just weird. It just feels like this could be Jurassic Park, but it made all the wrong choices.
Right.
Because the cast is so good. You got Peter Coyote as Barnes.
Oh, good. Excellent cast.
Sharon Stone at the height of her powers.
Right? You would expect it to be a great, pairing with Jurassic Park, on par with it. But
yeah. Dustin Hoffman. And Barry Levinson and him did do Wag the Dog basically in between all, because what happened with this movie is that obviously, like in the post Jurassic Park glow, they're like, Crichton, baby, give us all. We'll do Congo 95. And then they did Sphere in 1998. But I think they were going to try and do Sphere earlier, but they just were like, I don't know what to do. So they went and did Wag the Dog. And then did this. And yeah, I don't know what for you doesn't work about the movie.
I mean, I think it's just what you're talking about, like up and, the first part, great. Like we're doing the setup, trying to figure out what everything is. Still love that, seeing the trash, side and everything. Love that part. But then it's like, I don't know. It just kind of falls apart where it's like, maybe it's because we start discovering it all is just kind of, it's not a creature, like there's no dinosaurs coming after you. Right. And so we're in this very small room, it just feels lacking. I don't know. Like they could have done something more. Like, I don't know if they didn't have budget for stuff or if it was just the time that it was made. But
I think it was a little bit of, and even now it's like, okay, I can kind of watch the movie and kind of be like, okay, like this is, let's throw a couple of VHS filters on this and like make it like put a music video over it. Like it's got real kind of like liminal space vibes. But as far as I think as far as, design goes, there's some fun stuff in here, but it is interesting that like the coolest design is of the human habitat and not the spaceship. You know what I mean? Like the spaceship should kind of like rock your shit, even though it ultimately is an Earth, it is an American made vessel, but like even that kind of doesn't really pop at all.
It's like fucking huge, right? Like they walk miles
long,
or whatever.
Yeah.
So I that may be it too, where we're, where you would expect it to be pictured a little bit more in the movie, just something else. I don't know.
I just think the CGI sphere just doesn't look, I don't know. It's supposed to, because you think about Project Hail Mary, and you did a book club recently for Project Hail Mary.
Yeah.
I feel like that movie is able to hit on some alien / sort of inexplicable kind of imagery, whereas the sphere just is like, that's just a CG ball, like it just doesn't quite have the same, I don't know. It just, the image, like, I don't know. There's just something that they could have maybe, it just kind of feels like it's not, Jurassic Park, the movie really elevates the material and makes it different in unique ways that really feel like it stand on its own. Whereas the Sphere movie feels like, well, we kind of just did the book, but like there's none of the juice that you get from a book. And I would say too, it's like making it just look like reality doesn't necessarily convey how claustrophobic we should feel in those moments. Because I feel like there's just stuff where it's like, if you just see somebody struggling, be like, I can't breathe, I'm in the water. And it's like, I want to be in the helmet. You know what I mean? Like that would make it scarier. Like filmmaking techniques that could have made you really feel like you're in those cold waters and you're in those, you're really in there with them. But instead, it's almost like you are just sort of watching videotapes of people. You're watching a video of the movie. You're not in the story, And I feel like having the because what are they called? The basically like the big subsection, the monster, the deep.
The title chapter kind of things. Yeah.
Like, I feel like because the movie just uses them, it almost feels like they just sort of gave up because they're like, I mean, it's definitely a movie where people get knocked out a lot and go unconscious a lot. Yeah. And so there is that sort of dream logic by the end of the movie, which the movie especially leans into at the end because you're just like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. And I think, briefly alluded to it was supposed to be a TV show, but I think maybe that would be something, that sometimes books are they're not good for straight to a movie adaptation or TV show adaptation or whatever. Like some things need to be changed to make it visually appealing and give you that feeling like you are underwater and that claustrophobic. So I think, if we had a TV show, it could, have a little more time to kind of think about those things and lead up and, maybe have an episode of someone having a panic attack because when the storm comes over and the cable gets dropped, it's like, oh, we're really stuck down here.
Yeah.
And re-emphasize just how dire and creepy, this is not a good time. Whereas, I think the movie was just kind of like, here's what's in the book.
No, totally. And well, to go back to Westworld, I think Westworld being a very grounded sci-fi show was able to convey a lot of horror and fear and uncanny existential stuff. I mean, the first episode, I think I just got chills thinking about it now. The end of the first episode, I think, is one of the greatest endings to a first episode ever of all time. When Rachel Evan Wood, God, my dyslexia. When Evan Rachel Wood just goes, and the whole episode, you're basically told robots cannot hurt anything. And then you see a robot smash a fly, and you're like, what the fuck?
Oh no.
Oh no, what does this mean? Yeah, because you could do that. I think in a way, how we were talking about wanting to get to know the Navy crew, you could almost have this dynamic, almost like in what's the Abbott show? Not Abbott Elementary. What's the Downton Abbey? Oh. You could have a Downton Abbey thing almost where it's like
upstairs,
where-
downstairs.
Yeah, well, but it's like the idea that these scientists are here, they kind of all get put there because of Norman's like, "Ugh, I just want to buy a house," and then not really thinking the implications of, because in the movie they mention, like, I feel like Harry and Norman are a little more pals, and so he's like, "Oh, I just made this shit up. Sorry." Like that part's kind of, because they're kind of like trying to condense stuff. So I like the idea that, but like you could play with those dynamics of like how careless that is, that, and then these crew who like had full lives are kind of like fucked up because these, these people with their egos and like. And as everything devolves, it's like they're not thinking really of anyone else. Like it's their worst fears and manifestations, and people are collateral damage. Like I think that'd be kind of interesting to talk about, And then again, that kind of psychological horror. When you think about Jeffrey Wright's character in how he realizes that that there's that layer where like he's a robot. Then in the whole first season, like you think he's a person, like all of that stuff. I think you could really play with a lot of that. And even, oh my gosh, Tandy Newton's character and her whole journey, in the rest, like in season 2 and 3, you know what I mean? Like there is a lot of material you could play with, like human stuff, So maybe it doesn't need to be, we want Westworld to be properly finished, but like, I think you could do, you could do 2 or 3 seasons of Sphere in like an interesting way.
Yeah, no, definitely wouldn't want it to drag on, obviously. But no, I think that would be really cool, and like exploring that and kind of how because it's something we've watched and talked about a lot. Alien Earth, the first season, where it's like I still really love how they were going full force and like the ship crashing, but then we go back to before the ship crash and like everybody's on it just doing their job and stuff, so you get to learn, like I think there's some effective ways that shows do that where they can do like flashbacks, and it's like, oh, you get to learn about this person and care about this and know why, like the mousetrap of it all, like, oh, these things happen so that this could happen in the future.
Yeah, and like to your point, like if this whole thing is about how Norman was trying to assemble, like, what does it mean to create a working environment where like everyone could thrive? And, again, this is a toxic workplace book, and so you could comment on that by like reflecting on the different styles of people's careers and jobs as scientists. Like, I think, you could really dive into that stuff. Oh, no. I think we've only done it once this episode. Take a drink. But I did want to mention that the showrunner, again, there's been no update since 2023, but it is Denise Thay. And then obviously the executive producers were Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy from Westworld. So, and I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think Denise Thay was also part of Westworld, But I just wanted to give them a shout out mostly just because I would still love for it to happen.
I feel like I could.
HBO, bury the hatchet with all the Nolans. We need it. Look, we need Westworld to be on streaming again.
I'm once again asking for a Crichton universe where everything is tied together.
I know, yeah. Lex grows up and she, it's all connected.
Connected.
Like, yeah, there's a way you could connect. I don't know, Grant or Sarah Harding worked with Peter Elliott, in Congo, because predators in Africa. Well, not that a gorilla is a predator, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
They both
studying,
They did studying in Africa. There's ways to connect it.
Yeah.
Hammond maybe funded the Sphere research, because it's something to do helping with dinosaur stuff.
Yeah. Norman could be someone's psychologist that we see, like, in the background of an episode. And then when the Sphere, show comes on, then we're like, oh, wait, this guy.
He's Malcolm's psychologist. I love this.
That'd be so funny. Just thinking of Jeff Goldblum and Dustin Hoffman, like, in a therapy setting.
Yeah, oh my God. What would you do? What would you see in the Sphere? We mentioned Project Hail Mary a little bit as well, because I almost think the inside of the Sphere reminds me of the like ocean room in the movie, where it's like the comfort
project whatever. Mm-hmm.
It is just very like new agey, like, Oh, sail away, sail away. You know, like
what are the like are they deprivation chambers or whatever those things?
sensory deprivation chambers.
Yeah. That's kind of what it reminds me of.
Yeah. So what would you see if you went in the sphere?
You know, probably either like a giant library, a la
Ooh.
like Beauty and the Beast, you know, just
Nice.
endless stacks, but like cozy, you know, or like Castle in the Woods. Maybe both.
I would just see all my cats and more. You know what I mean? Just like a comfy room with a bunch of.
That'd be so nice.
Yeah. What would you see in the sphere, everyone?
Let us know.
What horrible things would you manifest?
Well, and like, you know, when I was listening to this, my kind of immediate reaction, because they have the conversation at one point of like, oh, whatever we're thinking about is what comes out. Don't think of anything. Of course, people are automatically going to think of something. And then my mind goes to Ghostbusters and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So inevitably, I feel like just because I love that movie, if somebody's like, oh, whatever you think of, you'll manifest, and be like, fuck, I'm going to think of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man just because of this movie.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah, that would be hard. Yeah, that would be really hard. Well, thank you so much, Sam. This has been so great.
Yeah.
I think we've hit everything. I did want to mention we both got pranked on April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
That Sphere is being shown at the Sphere. And
I mean, if the movie was better, I would be.
I mean, I think if they like a Sphere experience, you know,
Yeah.
I feel like that's what most IMAX, you know, like early IMAX, like pre, you know, our IMAX renaissance that we're in now. Like, you know, a lot of people's first IMAX movies were like the ocean or space, you know, at your local museum. So I'd be down for like a fun Sphere ocean. Oh no, you've manifested your worst fears and desires, you know?
Oh no.
It kind of reminds me too of like the Harry Potter, the Bogart kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
You know, in Azkaban. So
what's your greatest fear? No, I don't want this.
I know, you're like my parents, you know, it's just like a loving and stable relationship. Oh no. Oh boy. We have fun here, don't we? What are we doing next month?
Well, you know, we've dove down into the ocean, and now we're gonna come up and dry out and go into the desert.
Yes.
For Dragon
Teeth. Yeah.
Woo!
Another posthumously published Michael Crichton novel about dinosaurs.
Going back to dinosaurs.
Going back, baby. And I will shout out also that I was on And That's Why We Drink. I subbed in for Christine. Em and I did an episode together. It's a really great podcast. I'm sure most people listening listen to it. But for my story, I did the Bone Wars.
Yeah.
So obviously had to cite the Drunk History episode and a great episode of The Dollop. But I didn't read Dragon Teeth. But now I'm really, well, because it's fictional, but you know Michael Crichton was just like digging in on that research.
Yep.
Enemies
like,
to lovers to enemies.
Right. All of the drama, I feel like he's like, all right, let's go. Like, who hates who?
Yes, I know. You know,
beef?
I know. I wonder, because all the squabbling in Sphere, I'm curious to see how that kind of stuff, because man, those dudes, it felt very, I think I mentioned that and That's Why I Drink episode. It really felt like a Glinda Elphaba kind of relationship between Othniel Marsh and Edward Drinker Cope. So I'm really excited to see how Crichton explored all of that. So yeah, Dragon Teeth, read along if you haven't yet. I actually haven't read it, so this will be brand new for me.
I know, and I started it, and when it came out, and I was trying to get Jurassic Outpost to do a book club, and it just didn't get off the ground. So I'm excited to read it. Both of our, I don't know, I probably got 100 pages in. So
nice. Okay, I haven't started yet.
Yeah.
Your Sagittarius mastermind planning is working out. It's paying off after all these years.
I play far down the road, you know.
Long game. And yeah, so Dragon Teeth is in August. Yeah, because
Mhm.
this comes out July 29th. Just looked at my calendar again.
Yeah.
And we've already announced Sphere, and I'm excited to do a bunch of dumb reels on Instagram, just get people excited about it. So, and the movie, I believe right now is free on Tubi. So I think if you want to stream it, you can do it for free because...
And if you have Plex, it's on there as well.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah, I feel like this movie hasn't really been looked at fondly. There's not really like, because Congo got a 4K remaster from Vinegar Syndrome,
Right.
and it's awesome. Where it's like, I think, this is like, it basically got a bare bones Blu-ray and really nothing. I think there's like a trailer on it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
People haven't been revisiting this, but, well, if you are listening to this, my Jurassic Park 3 anniversary screening went down, and obviously it was amazing. And everyone cried, and we laughed, and we hugged, and everyone did their best Alan impressions, and it was a hoot. But I've been wanting to talk to some more local theaters about doing maybe more, like, I think like a Michael Crichton, like, maybe like, series, maybe not like a marathon. I'm not really like a big binger, but like, every Sunday it's like do a new movie, do Congo, do Sphere. I think Sphere with an audience could be fun.
Oh yeah.
I think we'd have to make it fun. We could.
I feel like it would be like, and for the people who like to partake in alcohol or whatever, like I feel like it'd be a great drinking game. Like you could make a great, kind of fun thing out of it.
Every time a scene just sort of like fades out for no reason, like I guess we're just moving on to the next part,
What happened? We don't know.
It's David Lynch, like if we just fade in and out of things randomly. Anyway, yeah, thank you everyone for watching, listening. And again, you don't have to read along, but it's fun if you do. People have been reading along, so that's been really nice to hear.
Yeah.
And Ball is life. What else? I mean, just get wet, like your life depends on it.
Read more books.
Read more books. Anxiety Squid says, "We believe in you." Oh God.
Oh no.
I was thinking of the line from Aliens where it was like, "Hicks, look into my eye."